What's going on, everybody? My name is Scott Geirman. Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. I'm joined in today by managing editor of Dodger Blue, Blake Williams. How we doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Saw the Dodger game yesterday. It wasn't too good. I think most people would go with that one, but got my Shohei Ohtani bobblehead, and so did a lot of fans. It was the largest attendance in baseball this year, and one of the Dodgers' largest since like 2019 or something like that, I think they said. So it was pretty good, even though they lost.
Did you get the home bobblehead or did you get the road bobblehead, the rare one?
No, I did not get the road bobblehead. Those ones are going for like over $1,000 on eBay right now. So a little disappointed by that one, but it's still a pretty cool bobblehead.
Yeah, definitely. Frustrating game. Absolutely. Last night. Aside from the lineup card that I was absolutely going in on Twitter, it's a frustrating one to see rolled out. It includes a few names there that have been struggling mightily. We're going to really focus on Chris Taylor, James Outman today, but someone who was at Dodger Stadium after a quick rehab stint was Jason Heyward. You know, he hasn't appeared in a game since March 30th, so he's been dealing with a back issue. I know you said, you heard Dave Roberts comment on both of them or all these things going on prior to the game on Thursday. What did Dave really have to say?
Yeah, so Dave Roberts said Jason Heyward is really close to returning soon. He had his 2 rehab games, which kind of surprising it was that short, but
yeah,
they originally didn't predict him to go on a rehab at all to begin with, and then it ended up happening because the soreness in his body just kept lingering around. So they wanted to go get him some at-bats before he rejoins the team. And then he did a workout before the game, and they said depending on how that goes, they're going to have a conversation with him and decide the next step, whether that's to activate him or go through another workout, probably get him some live at-bats if he just feels like he needs them. But he's going to be back soon, so Dodgers should get a piece to their outfield back here.
Yeah, Hayward had 7 plate appearances in AAA. He's a veteran, 34 years old. He's been doing this quite a long time. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for him to be completely ready to go in that little bit of time there. They kind of take veterans' words on it that do you feel good after a handful of bats? Do you have any issue with him making such a short stint there? Would you have liked to seen him get a little bit more, or considering where the bench is at currently on the big league level, are you okay with it?
I think I'm kind of in the middle. I think it's always nice to see them go through more and really get their footing under them, show that they're ready to come back. But I think Hayward is at a point in his career where he knows how he's feeling. He knows what he needs to do to get ready. So we didn't really see any results from him when he was on his rehab assignments. But I mean, when you're on a rehab assignment, it's not always results based. I do think for a hitter, it might be a little more important, but as long as his swing feels like it's in a good place, I think I'm okay with them bringing him back a little sooner than maybe we would have liked to see.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that he's seen him do this. He's going to play. He's not playing every single day when he's with the big club. He'll be still in a platoon role there for what his contract was. It's kind of not hard to believe, but he will be a platoon guy up there, barring anything completely out of the realm of what we've seen from Jason Heyward in a Dodgers uniform. So we will see him primarily against right-handed pitching, and it's good to have him back. He was a force. People forget of what Jason Heyward did with the Dodgers last year is why. And aside from being Freddie Freeman's best friend, why they brought him back to the Dodgers. He is a valuable piece when he's healthy. He's barreling right-handed pitchers up, and it's something that the Dodgers can use with their current thing. But for the spot that they need on the big league roster and who's available, to really send down or, who's been struggling, it's a hot topic. Chris Taylor, James Outman. What do they really do with the both of them? I wrote an editorial about this, not too big of a dive, but a deep one nonetheless about, the struggles that both of them have had. And is one deeper than the other? Is one timing? Is one mental? Is it a little bit of both? Chris Taylor, by all accounts, we've been beating him up, but it's been a topic that among fans, and it's hard. It's the elephant in the room. Anytime he's penciled in. He's arguably one of the worst hitters in Major League Baseball at the moment. And I know Dave commented on, him being a little bit of the in-between. Anything more that Dave said about Taylor prior to the game?
Yeah, so the context there is Chris Taylor didn't start in a game for 9 straight games. Dave Roberts previously said some of that was due to just the matchups they were facing. They didn't really face any left-handed pitchers. And then they also wanted to just give him some time off to try and reset, work on his swing, figure out his issues. But Robert said he's been working on his mechanics is one of the main things, but what he's seen from him, it's a lot of like mental struggles as well. We've always talked about Chris Taylor being such a mechanical guy that he has to have his mechanics in place to be a productive hitter. But right now, the mental side is also really coming in to affect him. Robert said he's seeing Taylor kind of indecisive and in between on swings, not fully committing to anything, just being unsure of himself. And Robert said that indecisiveness is kind of like the main thing that's causing Taylor troubles right now. So hopefully that rest time maybe helped him reset a bit and get back on track. He did have a single in the game yesterday. So it's interesting to see what they're actually going to end up doing with him. And they still seem to have faith and want to run him out there, but it's kind of getting to the point where how much runway can you actually give him?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a touchy topic. It's one that because of what he's done for the franchise since he's been with the Dodgers, I think it's since 2015, I believe, or not 2015, 2017 or back in 2016, something like that when they acquired him. He's been an integral piece to what they've been doing for a long time. And it kind of, you blink and it's already at this point. So Chris Taylor struggling like this. He's 33 now. And to what you said, Dave commented on about him being a little bit of in between, indecisive. A lot of his data backs that up. He's got his chase rate. He doesn't qualify, so I can only speak to percentages here. It's all where it should be, as if he was a complete hitter. Walk rate 13.2%. That's solid. 23.1% chase rate. So he's doing those things, but his whiff rate and his K rate are nearly identical in the 40 and 41% respectively right there. So he's at a point where he's unsure of when he's going to swing. He's unsure of when he's going to take. It's just a tough thing to watch because he's so mechanical. You're going to see him so in between that when it does come time that he needs to, execute a swing, execute a spot, he doesn't know whether he needs to do it. He only has 4 hits on the year, all singles. So it's just, I'm not sure what he's doing, what he's up there, what he's battling. I just know it's tough to go through or tough to watch as a fan, as a, looking at it, trying to be objective. But from what I've seen from Taylor, doesn't warrant, I'm not going to say doesn't warrant a DFA just because of who he is on the roster, but it's just because there's a lot of money attached to what he means to the Dodgers. And they don't really do those type of things to these type of players. Blake, do you see that ever being a possibility for Chris Taylor?
I want to say no, but if it gets to like July or August or September and he's still going through this, like I feel like at that point you kind of have to do it. You can't keep like a black hole on your roster all year, no matter how much value they have. Like I know people are probably going to want to compare to the Austin Barnes situation last year, but that was just so different as a backup catcher where he's going to play once or twice a week. It just doesn't really matter. With Chris Taylor, he's kind of an important piece in a platoon role and filling in other spots. And if someone was to get injured, he would need to step up and take on that role. And then they also have a guy like Miguel Vargas who's tearing it up in the minor leagues that could come up and kind of replace him there. So it's tough to see them doing it, but at the same time, if it keeps going on like this, I feel like they're going to kind of be forced into it, even if they don't love the concept of it.
Yeah. So Chris Taylor, we got him out of the way. That we know how. So it'll be just so people watching, we know it'll be a difficult decision for them to do that. He doesn't have options. He can't go anywhere. He'll be on the big league roster, or he won't be, or something will pop up. There's some injury that happens. That's not the route that is ideal. None of this is ideal for Chris Taylor. He's at a spot where he's had reverse splits in the past, but right now he has no splits. He's not doing anything correctly. He doesn't look like himself there. But what's nice is that I've commented on and written about a good little bit is that defense keeps playing and he looks comfortable out there, which is fine. And as long as he's out there and he's not, costing them runs on the defensive side, that's something that you can not hinge, do that because you can find defense anywhere. It's same type of thing. I'm not keeping him on the roster if he's just going to play defense. That's just, you can find that in other areas, and you can look into your minor league system with Miguel Vargas, who could slot right into left field and still has some untapped potential there with the bat at the big league level. But James Outman, Same type of struggles. Last year was a lot of a roller coaster. He went through about a 2-month lull, and it pretty much knocked him out. I mean, aside from Corbin Carroll going crazy, knocked him out of the Rookie of the Year race. But James Outman's struggles this year are very pronounced. They're at a point where he's not just a platoon guy. It's tough to really run him out there just because of how much whiff he has in his game. He gets into a hole and he's basically a guaranteed out. For James, what did Dave really have to say about James?
Yeah, funny enough, when Davis talked about James Outman, it's been the same thing. Like he's seeing indecisiveness in the swing.
Mhm.
And he noted the difference of last year. Even during Outman's struggles, he was in a pretty good mental space. But this
Mhm.
year, he hasn't seen that same player. He's seeing more of the indecision on his swings. So you're really getting like the same kind of issues here with Chris Taylor and James Outman, which is really interesting that the Dodgers are in this kind of situation here because usually they've taught their hitters to be very confident at the plate, and it's not something you've seen from their hitters a lot. So to have two in the same time going through it, it's pretty interesting. Dave Roberts did previously say they weren't considering optioning Outman, but I think there's some truth to that, and also kind of like just not going to throw your guy under the bus type thing.
Yeah.
He's not going to come out and say, "Yeah, we're going to option James Outman in a week." That's just going to put him in a worse spot. And also, Jason Heyward wasn't ready to return at that time, so there was really nothing to talk about unless you planned on placing him with Miguel Vargas or something like that. But they weren't going to do that because they knew Heyward was going to be back here soon. So I think now that it's an actual decision, they're going to have that conversation of whether to option Outman or how they create that roster space. Most of us think it's going to be Chris Taylor or James Outman as the odd man out. I'd be willing to bet it's James Outman just because he has options, and it would
Mhm.
just be easier for the whole roster to do that. It's also easier to replace a lefty outfielder with a lefty outfielder. So I think it just makes a lot of sense for them to give him some time to try and get back on track and go from there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think a lot of people watching this, and if you rely on us to dissect the information for you, would agree. We believe it'll be James Outman, be just because of that lineup maneuverability, organization wise. It's easy to just let's be honest. He's 27 and getting optioned at 27 is a really difficult thing. That's it doesn't bode well for where he's at as a prospect, but it doesn't spell the end of his development. Like these things happen with players, and he's a late bloomer. He came up as a defense guy, and offense wasn't his main game. But we've seen him, like last year, really go on these roller coasters. This one's just dragging on quite a bit, and it's really bled into the mental side, and it's affecting him a lot. But what I stumbled upon about a month ago was that James Outman's biggest issue is when he gets behind an account. And right now it's kind of everything, but when he gets behind an account, he's just so in between. He's just not able to find anything. And a good 75% of his at bats, plate appearances, he's down 0-1. And he's just been abysmal, like a WRC plus under 30. We're talking when he's behind like that first strike, he's already the odds are completely against him. About a 40% K rate in those things. Like he goes on to have that. So it's a tough spot with both of them. We used to think that the Dodgers' strength for them was a deep bench. Kike Hernandez has kind of come out a little bit. Same thing, streaky players. They don't really have much on the bench currently. This is a difficult spot for them. I know everybody calls it doom and gloom. Scott and Blake don't like to talk or like to talk about all the things, but it's obvious conversations when you look at a roster like this that needs to be well rounded. The conversations to be had are the tough ones because we don't have to worry about the top five in the order. It's all about what comes after that. Kike Hernandez, Gavin Lux, Chris Taylor, James Outman, Austin Barnes. Hopefully, Jason Heyward can remedy a little bit of this and give them some stability against right-handers. Andy Pages is another player who's really we have to really have the discussion. But we're not getting into that yet. Dave Roberts is they're going to give him a lot of leeway here. See if we can work through whatever. But I think that at the end of the day, James Outman will be optioned to AAA. Chris Taylor will be given a little bit more of a leash, just like you said. We'll about the end of July trade deadline type material, All Star break, and then we'll go from there. Anything like gut feeling? You're going with James Outman, option down.
Yeah, it just kind of makes most sense for how they're going. I think Outman has performed better than Chris Taylor. I think that's pretty clear.
Mhm.
But they've kind of made decisions in the past based on options and keeping their players around in depth and all that. So I think it's just a much easier move to option Outman and then just keep Chris Taylor on the roster for the meantime.
Yeah, and then the conversation going into next year, I know Chris Taylor's owed about 13 million next year. Guaranteed money. They have a club option for the following, and all of that is still up in the air. It's a gut wrenching spot, no matter which way they go. Just the hope is that he finds something mechanically, and ideally, it would be in a spot where they don't have to, force him to go out there and play when he doesn't feel comfortable completely at all. So anybody watching looking for us to dunk on Chris Taylor, there's no need to. He's struggling enough as it is. Let's just hope that he's able to find some positive. And the positive with him right now is going out there and he's at least having one spot of his game that's going decent, which is his defense and his versatility. But they haven't needed that. They've got infielders this year, like they're an okay spot. Let's let him play left field. But that opens the door for, now if left field is the spot you need to supplement, there are other players in the organization like Miguel Vargas who could come up and do that job. But as far as Jason Heyward, it's easy for them to just swap lefty for lefty and go from there. But that's kind of it on this topic here. My name is Scott Geirman. This is Blake Williams. We'll stay tuned. Nothing is for sure. We've seen the Dodgers do some wacky things in the past, but Chris Taylor we think is safe for now. And James Outman, we think that he'll get a little bit of time in AAA while Jason Heyward comes back up and hopefully find some run. They do need some thump in the bottom of that order because we saw when Dave Roberts tosses out the for funsies lineup on a Thursday night and the Dodgers sell out and have the biggest attendance in nearly since 2019, something like that.
Yeah.
We see how it can go. So let's hope Jason Heyward can find some thump. Let's get the best friends, Freddie and Jason, back together and get some runs, man. See if they can keep doing damage against righties because lefties have been great. That's all we got. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you like, subscribe button. Yeah. What's up?
I've got one thing for you real quick before we go. You said you don't have to worry about the top 5 in the Dodgers lineup. Are you throwing out Teoscar or Muncy? Or are you that concerned about Freddie? Or are you adjusting it to 6?
Well, next video. We'll do in another video. Don't do this to me. Don't do this. Don't expose me here.
Okay.
But we've seen like tonight, like a night like tonight, Muncy gets the day off. Like we see how this goes. Like if Dave decided, like I said, the for funsies lineup, this stuff's embarrassing. Like you can't put those. No, this would drag us on to the 30 minutes. Don't do this to me. Chat, let Blake know he can't bait me into that. That was good. But we'll say top 6. When Muncy and Teoscar are in there, top 6. And then the bottom 3, it's just you can't have 2 roadblocks, 2 black holes in there because it just completely like when they rolled out the lineup on Thursday from Kike on, it's OPS is in order 571, 524, 294, 516, 562. And then Austin Barnes just allows Ellie De La Cruz to run wild. And it's just, what are we doing? So whatever. They need to figure out at least 2 of those players in the bottom, Chris Taylor, James Outman, both can't be in the lineup at the same time. It's impossible. So if you can supplement that with Jason Heyward, and he's a plus player, like we all think he can. His defenses can continue to play. He made a nice defensive play in OKC. Excuse me, but that's the next move, the next thing that we're going to see the Dodgers really act on. So we could see this right after this video gets posted. We don't expect them to throw a curveball at us. Chris Taylor would strike out anyways, but we expect James Outman to go to OKC. Jason Heyward on the big league roster. Appreciate everybody. This has just been, we could keep going for 25 minutes on the bottom of the order debacle, but hit the like, subscribe button. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning into Dodger Heads. I'm Scott Geirman. That's Blake Williams. Have a great day, everybody.